Can you come with a question again, please?
The question is, at page 136 of your manifesto, your party has categorized almost all grants of public lands to individuals as, quote, looted state lands, end quote. And as I've just been enumerating, I have here in my hands clear evidence of public lands which were granted to MPs, ministers, public servants, and a whole other people under the Professor Mills and President Mahama government. Will you classify them as looted lands?
Thank you, Chairman. Honorable Chairman, the importance of land has been underscored in our Constitution. So if you look at Article 268, and I quote, 1, any transaction, contract, or undertaking involving the grant of a right or concession by or on behalf of any person, including the government of Ghana, to any other person or body of persons, howsoever describes for the exploitation of minerals. Oh, sorry, I think I was talking about the exploitation of minerals, but the point I want to make, I think is 257.1, is that land that is vested in the president, public lands, are two types, state and vested lands. And this is, the president is entrusted to hold these lands in trust of the people of Ghana. As a matter of fact, that is why the people's representative at each point when it comes to issues of land will also require ratifications. I think the point that must be made here is that when people who are entrusted with the responsibility to hold in trust or supervise the lands of the people of Ghana, it must be guided. And I think that I'm not very familiar with the specific quotation, but I think the history of how lands has been given out is that first it started off where state lands were given free of charge. At some point it was 10%, and at some point it was 25%, as it currently was according to the Lands Commission. I think the NDC's commitment is that, first of all, state lands must be protected at all costs, especially for us who has the responsibility to protect it in the interest of the people. And if there is the need at all to give away state land, it must be evaluated, and the current market value is what the people of Ghana deserve. We cannot do anything with land to shortchange the people of Ghana. And if I get a chance as the minister, that is exactly what I will do. I will protect the interest of the people of Ghana by making sure that lands, state lands or public lands, if there's a critical need at all to really give it out, as you have described with the redistricting in Accra, it has to be done with the current market value, cautiously understanding that the people of Ghana need to be protected, their assets need to be protected, and there has to be value for money.
Mr. Chairman, I just will have one or two follow-up questions. I just want us to, Chairman, it's very important. The issue of public lands in Ghana has become a very topical issue.
With all due respect, you are entitled to one follow-up question.
That's okay. I want to just establish from the nominee, so that we are clear in our minds, what the policy of the government will be. And as I said, at page 136 of the NDC manifesto, the party categorized all grants of public lands as state-looted lands. And as I say, I have in my hand here several state lands which were granted during the erstwhile NDC administration. Now, the question of prices of public lands was established, the formula for determining the prices was established as far back as 1995. So nothing has changed. It's been a formula that has been used since President Rawlings' time. The question is simple, and we just want the nominee to be clear on that. These lands which have been granted, will he classify them as looted lands, and those who bought them, Will they be state looters? And the Commission of Inquiry, which has been promised by his party, will the Commission of Inquiry begin from 1993 up to date? And further so, will your government put a ban on the sale of public lands as you promised the Ghanaian people, not at market value? Will you ban the sale of all public lands in Ghana? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, as we speak today, the guidelines for the sale of public lands, according to the Lands Commission, is that it is valued and then 25% of the value is what is sold. And then the rest is paid through ground rents. What I am telling you that is different, and that's the commitment of the new NDC government, is that that will not happen anymore. And that public lands will be valued, and anybody, first of all, it should not be sold. If there's a need to sell it at all, it has to be done at the current market value and make sure that the people of Ghana are not shortchanged. Any attempt, and I think that I have to also say that, Chairman, as you know, the President recently communicated that the sale of all state lands be put on hold, and that a thorough investigation, a thorough review is done. I think I am yet to go to that ministry. My task is that when I get the opportunity to go to the ministry, I'll get a chance to review all these lands and what has been done, and I'll be in that position to make very good judgment. But I can tell you what I will do. Every decision I made will be guided by what I just said. We cannot take decisions that will shortchange the people of Ghana, and I will do so.
Thank you very much. Any further question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I think that this obviously will be a matter that we will be following up on at the Assurances Committee of Parliament, because the commitment was to stop the sale of all public lands. Now we are being told
it's
going to be a market value.
Your next question.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, now let me take the nominee to the issue of mining in forest reserves. And indeed, the question of mining, illegal mining, has become a very topical issue in our country. Mr. Chairman, you will recall that in a run-up to the 2024 elections, calls were made that a state of emergency be placed on illegal mining in Ghana. And indeed, the NDC, I have here in my hands, the NDC categorically committed, and I quote, NDC will have declared state of emergency to combat galamsey. There it is. This is dated 2nd October 2024. The Trades Union Congress asked for the declaration of a state of emergency to combat galamsey. The Catholic Bishops' Conference called for a state of emergency to combat galamsey. The nominees' party clearly committed to declaring a state of emergency to combat galamsey. Mr. Chairman, the question is, when will this state of emergency be declared? If he's given the nod as the minister responsible for mining, when will this state of emergency be declared to combat illegal mining in Ghana?
Thank you very much, Honorable Nominee.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, as you know, indeed it is true. The previous administration started very well. There was a ban of mining in all places for 6 months. It was extended to 9 months. But at the end of the 8 years, the outcome is what we all know. Degraded lands, polluted water bodies, and all-time turbidity levels according to the Ghana Water Company, and wanton destruction of forest reserves. These are clearly facts. That clearly indicates that indeed that fight was a failure. Chairman, I think that the question is for the nominee is asking me that a nominee who is here to go to the ministry should sit at the vetting committee to declare state of emergency. This is what I intend to do. Obviously, these are very grave issues. We are very committed to first ensuring, as you know, it is illegal for anybody to do mining on water bodies. Exactly what must be done to make sure that we stop with immediate effect mining on our water bodies. It is also very, very concerning that as we speak, our critical forests in critical areas are seeing degradations that we have not seen in the history of our country. Exactly how do we address it to make sure that we bring back our forestry as in the condition and make sure that we restore biodiversity and our sustainable forests? That really is the reason why we as human beings will live. Those are very important matters that will really get my attention as a minister. A minister, when I get a chance as a minister, when you give me the opportunity, I will deal with this matter expeditiously with the urgency that they deserve.
Mr. Chairman, I have a follow-up. Of course, the question is still pending, hanging, but I share in the sentiments of the nominee in terms of the need, the need to. Okay, go ahead.
A follow-up on the
I have a follow-up, but when you finish.
No. By the rules, let's allow the questioner to finish the follow-up, then we can give the floor to you.
The questioner is yielding to me. The questioner is
So are you forfeiting your right to ask a follow-up question? So go ahead with your follow-up question, then I can give you the floor.
Mr. Chairman, so as I say, I share in his sentiments on the need for us to protect our environment, and as a country will attest, a lot of effort was made, including Operation Halt and all of that, and some of the conclusions the nominee is come to are those that I contest in terms of how illegal mining was combated in the previous administration. But that will be a subject matter for another discussion. Mr. Chairman, you will see that on the 18th of January 2025, 8 people were killed and several others injured in Obuasi when there was a clash between illegal miners and the Ghana Armed Forces, personnel of the Ghana Armed Forces. And indeed, on the 22nd of January, 2 other people were killed in Tano and Wia Forest Reserve. And as I speak to you, the Ghana Coalition Against Illegal Mining has called on President Mahama to declare a state of emergency when it comes to Galamsey. The point I'm making is that, in fact, the situation as it relates to illegal small-scale mining is worsened. It's worsened. 8 people were killed in Obuasi. Anglo Gold Ashanti's concession was attacked. 2 people have been killed. Altogether, 10 people have been killed. That obviously calls for great concern. And the question is specific. If the nominee may assist in guiding us on the policy position of the new government so that we can all take that into consideration in evaluating his nomination. And the question is this, the follow-up question is this. If given the opportunity to be minister responsible for lands and natural resources, will he follow through with his party's commitment to declare a state of emergency in dealing with Galamsey in Ghana? And if he says he doesn't have the power, will he make such a recommendation to the president, pursuant to the commitment of his party in their manifesto? Will you make that recommendation to the president?
Thank you very much,
for a state of emergency to be declared in Ghana?
Thank you, Robert Chairman. Honorable Chairman, we face serious crisis with the wanton destruction of our forest, with the polluted rivers. I come from Elembele district and I've seen it firsthand. The challenges we face with the polluted water bodies. These are things that we all know, and I've already spoken about the important steps that must be done. Number 1.
Honorable members, let's have some order so that we can listen to the answer.
Number one, illegal mining must be combated. And let me say it very clear here. Chairman, we in opposition were very strong on the issue of illegal mining. As minister, we are going to stand together with the people of Ghana to fight illegal mining. It doesn't matter your status, it doesn't matter your political correlation. If you want to do mining, we have legal processes for getting licenses and doing mining. And this is the good news, Chairman. We have seen why we are where we are. We are where we are because, in my view, a lot of the attempts at addressing some of the issues failed because of some of the points I'm bringing. I come from a mining district. And so I can tell you that number one of the interventions we are going to do is to change the approach. One will be community engagement in a different way. How do we get the community to really be part of this fight? For example, I talk about community engagement and describe the community mining scheme. The community mining scheme has a good name, community mining. But let me tell you how it was done in my area. It was done by government officials at the local level engaging the work of a contractor who would then go to the community and meet the community and be introduced that this contractor is coming to do community mining. And then the community, young people will be hired as day laborers. Mr. Chairman, that is not the type of community mining, community engagement we are bringing. Number one, we are going to start a very genuine and transparent approach by first making sure that the people in the areas where mining occurs understand that the destiny of their area is in their hands. The river bodies, the forests, they are the leaders of these areas, and we are going to give them that respect and empower them, working with them to give them the support. If we are going to sell community mining, we are going to put it together in cooperatives and make sure we create enclaves, proper enclaves. And this is one of the problems, Mr. Chairman, and I think the former minister knows. Why is it that everybody is going crazy, digging everywhere? Because they are all looking for where the gold is. We are going to work with the Mineral Commission to make sure, working with the Geological Survey, to have geological investigation to identify mineralized areas where we can now focus attention in groups. When we talked about licensing and decentralizing, that's my second point, decentralizing the licensing regime, because we want the communities to be empowered. Nobody is going to wait for 4 years to get a mining license. They will do illegal mining. But guess what? We are going to make the process such a way that it is easy for them to go through the process. Because ultimately, our focus is to make sure that we deal with people who are engaged in illegal mining ruthlessly, because we've created a pathway, we've empowered the community to do the right thing. And that is what we are going to do.
Mr. Chair, thank you.
Follow up.
Leader, congratulations. Yeah, your answer to the honorable member's question on sale of state land, I like the aspect where you said that you are going to go out there for value for money. And I heard it. Now, I am reliably informed that these sales started way back 1995. What are you going to do? All the lands that have been disposed of since 1995, where value for money was not established, would you because this is a subject matter that is very critical to Ghanaians. Value for money was not established, in your view. Would you reverse this sale?
Chairman, I've told you how far we've come. Started where state lands were basically given for free. We got to a point where 10% was required, and then the rest will be paid through ground rent. And then we moved to 25% of payment and the rest paid in ground rent. What I'm saying is that the new focus will be that first, state lands must not be sold. But if there's any need at all in the interest of the public, and obviously that happens when urbanization and the need to develop, the need to commercialize and other factors, we even get to that point, then we have to make sure that the current market value is what will guide that sale, so that the people of Ghana who we are holding this land in trust will not be shortchanged. And as minister, I will guard that jealously.
Okay, so you are looking into the future. That is going to the future. Is that the
correct?
Case?
That's
so
correct.
What about the wrong that has been perpetuated already? According to your view?
Chairman, I already said, His Excellency the President has already directed a complete review for us to have a long list of all sales of land. When you give me the opportunity as minister and I go to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, the good news is I'm here in Parliament. I'll be happy to come back to this house to discuss with you the way forward. But this is what I know. We will not allow anybody to shortchange the people of Ghana.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, it's all well and good, but the commitment was to ban...
Your last question, please.
The commitment was to ban the sale of all state lands. No, I'm taking the place of the Chief Whip, so I'm entitled to 6, I'm told. So I have 4 more questions. Yes. He's the minority. He's taking... Yeah.
Please, your last question. Honorable member, your last question. Let me place on record that apart from the ranking member, no other member has a right to ask unlimited questions. I do not want a situation where we set the rules and come here and break the rules. So if they want you to act as the ranking member, then please take the rightful position. But since you are not the ranking member, you are entitled to 3 substantive questions.
Mr. Chair, just a point. He is the immediate past minister from the sector. And these are very important subject matter issues that are raised. And so, Chair, please, we have often disagreed to agree. I want to plead with you on this occasion. Let's find a way of dealing with it so that he can exhaust just a few questions left off. Please.
Honorable members, I have been given his name as a subject matter committee member. And no subject matter committee member can go beyond 3 substantive questions. So please, ask your last question. If there is a need for supplementary, you can go ahead and do just that.
Mr. Chair, if you look at the list I transmitted to you, the Honorable Abu Jinapor was not submitted as a subject matter. It was not. You can look at the list. That's his name. And then I did. Yeah, so you see my name attached to it. He's planned to represent me. That is the arrangement. So let him exhaust the
Honorable member,
minister.
Honorable Chief Whip,
very important matters.
Honorable Chief Whip, he is entitled to 3 substantive questions. I would allow a supplementary question at my discretion. Please go ahead and ask your last question.
Chairman, we still want to insist. We want to insist. You and I have engaged severally on same subject matter. particularly on this matter, please. And you can see the
Honorable former minister, will you go ahead to ask your question, or I give the floor to another person?
He's eager. Let's settle this matter. Chair, with respect.
With all due respect, will you go ahead and ask your question, or I give the floor to another person?
Let him just two more questions. No, that cannot be. At least for nothing at all. He's an immediate past minister. He has just some few questions, and then he was exhausted. Chairman, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for your consideration, Chairman. I'm very grateful. Chairman, the next question is on another very important matter which confronts the Ghanaian people. Honorable nominee, you will see that on June 20th, 2024, a commitment was made, and I quote, election 2024, I will ban mining in forest reserves if elected president. Mahama, end quote. And you will see that the president emphasized, for example, that all mining in forest reserves will be banned, just like public lands. I mean, now we are being told that there will not be a ban, but that there will be a market value. But I'm saying that in the same token, in this particular commitment, the president, then candidate Mahama, committed that, and I quote further again, where he said, and I quote, we are going to ban mining in forest reserves. As for that, it is non-negotiable, end quote. Will mining in forest reserves, all mining in forest reserves be banned? And if so, when? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. Honorable Chairman, it is correct. We have said that there will be no new mining activities in forest reserve, and the intention is to make sure that LI 2462 will be amended to make sure that this provision that allows mining in forest reserve is not in place. We will make sure that happens. If you give me the chance as the minister, that will be the first order of business, to make sure that there will be no new mining activities in forest reserve. We must stop the
Honorable Chair, sorry, I'm very sorry I have to interrupt. Honorable nominee, sorry.
Honorable member,
the president, no, sorry,
Honorable
Chairman.
member, with all due respect, it is not the answer that you want. Allow the nominee to answer the question, and if you have a follow-up,
he missed the question. No, sorry, he missed the question. Sorry, he missed the question. So I'm just repeating the question. So the commitment, Honorable nominee, I think you didn't get the question. The commitment was to ban all forms of mining in forest reserves. And I'll give you even a further quote when President Mahama was speaking at the Christian Service University in Kumasi, where he said categorically, and I quote, I will ban all mining in forest reserves because I believe that many of the trees in the reserves, which are more than 700 years old, are more precious assets than any mineral that lies beneath them, end quote. So the commitment was to ban all forms of mining in forest reserve, not new mining, was to ban all forms of mining. And the question is, will that ban come into effect, and when will that happen? That's the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, I'm very excited about new initiatives that will help us to heal the wounds of our country. Our country is bleeding. Our forest, that is really at the heart and soul of our survival, has been completely devastated, damaged. And don't take my words for it. This is what the NDC intends to do. We are bringing 3 great initiatives: the Blue Water Initiative, which seeks to heal and harness the environment by turning areas degraded by illegal mining into hubs of economic and ecological recovery. That's what we are going to do. We are also going to do Tree for Life initiative. Reforestation will be intensified. We are not only going to focus reforestation only in the forest, we are also going to encourage afforestation across the country. Chairman, you know, we are going to really push for another policy of Restore Ghana to deal with the issue of galamsey impacted lands and water bodies through a comprehensive land and water-based rehabilitation. These are things we are going to do to really address all the damage and heal the wounds. In the meantime, as we are doing that, we are going to make sure LI 2462 is no more, so that we can stop any further mining in forest reserve, and that's exactly what we will do.
Thank you very much. Any follow-up?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I keep insisting on these policy commitments because they are absolutely important. People go to the polls, cast their votes based on these commitments, these policy commitments. And of course, I agree with the chairman that I cannot extract an answer I prefer from him. He is entitled to answer in the manner that he so wishes. But I think it's absolutely important. The issue of mining in forest reserves has become a topical issue in Ghana. The government of President Akufo-Addo, in which I was privileged to serve as Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, put in place a plethora of measures to cordon off and protect the forest estate of our country. And therefore, just as the government implemented a two-pronged approach of afforestation, reforestation, and protection of our forests, this commitment that was made by President Mahama, this commitment that was made by President Mahama, His Excellency President Mahama, it's a commitment which I believe the Ghanaian people would like to know from the potential prospective Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, who will have the mandate of protecting our forests. The president himself, honorable nominee, and you didn't make the commitment. The president himself made the commitment, categorical commitment, that all forms of mining in forest reserves will be banned. So, for example, you have Newmont Golden Ridge Limited.
Is that your question? Please, I'll follow up question.
Foundation
but the foundation should not be a thesis.
No, I understand, Chairman. Just a foundation, please. Mr. Chairman, please. These are very important matters for the Ghanaian people. It's important that we delve into them. For example, Mr. Chairman, Newmont Golden Ridge Limited has been mining in the Ajenjua Bepu Forest Reserve since 2010, Mr. Nominee. Anglo Gold Ashanti Eduoprim has been mining in the Nguyen Forest Reserve for years. Golden Star Wasa Limited has been mining the Subri River Forest Reserve for ages. Ghana Bauxite has been mining the Afua Hill Forest Reserve since 1940. Ghana Manganese has been mining in the Bonza River and Nguyen Forest Reserve since 1916. A lot of mining is taking place in our forest reserves, and the contribution of these companies to our national economy is known to all of us. Will the promised ban of all forms of forest, of mining in forest reserves, be effected? And if so, when?
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman.
Well, the question is asked and answered, but I will give the floor to the nominee to repeat his answer.
Chairman, I think I answered the question, but let me say that these very reputable international companies who have been mining the forest reserves are not the reason why our forest is bleeding today. The reason our forest has been degraded and destroyed is because we allowed political apparatchiks to take over our forest and destroy it. What I am saying is that we are going to stop all these illegal mining activities in our forest reserve with these measures that I have described, the Blue Water Initiative, the Tree for Life Initiative, and Restore Ghana initiatives to make sure that we harness our forests and bring back biodiversity and the ecological life of our forest. We are going to do that. But we are not going to open ourselves for further damage. And that is why we are going to stop further issuance of any license for mining in forest reserve.
Honorable nominee, you've mentioned political apparatchiks. First of all, can you define these? What do you mean by political apparatchiks? And can you give us some examples?
Chairman, I think I meant people who are doing illegal mining in these forest reserves. I think that's what I was trying to describe.
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
I will proceed to give the floor to Honorable Soini.
Oh, Chairman. One more question.
Thank you.
Oh, just one more.
Thank you.
Soini, you yield to me.
And you think I'll do that?
Yield to me.
Why do you think I'll do that? You have not ended. You have not ended. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to engage with the nominee for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Kofi Buah. Honorable, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Honorable Armah Buah is an astute gentleman who has deep knowledge in the area that he has been nominated to serve in. And I have no doubt whatsoever about his competence. I worked in the media when he was Energy Minister, and I did work very closely with him, and I can attest to his passion and his commitment to the upliftment of this great country of ours. And so I can only wish him well and hope that he will carry that same zeal and commitment and passion to the ministry to make not only his constituents proud, not only his party proud, not only the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who has reposed his confidence in him, proud, but the whole country very proud. But because this is a constitutional exercise, allow me to field a few questions that I'm sure will go a long way to convince the good people of Ghana that indeed you have what it takes to deliver to the expectations of all Ghanaians. Once again, Honorable Nominee, congratulations to you. But to my first question, it's something that has been touched around this table, illegal mining. It remains a major concern in this country, causing environmental degradation, water pollution, and loss of arable land. Honorable Nominee, what strategic policies will you implement to combat illegal mining effectively while balancing the need for sustainable livelihoods for local communities?
Chairman, I have a three-pronged approach to dealing with this menace. And as I've described it, community engagement, enforcement, and prevention. Community engagement because, Chairman, we must first start by acknowledging that the people who can really deal with this problem are the people at the local level in the mining areas where this happens. And so to that extent, we must engage our chiefs, our community leaders. We must sensitize them, we must give them the training needed, and we must empower them. First of all, we must also reach out to them. One of the reasons why, and Chairman, let me tell you the enormity of the problem we are dealing with. According to the Minerals Commission, 3 million Ghanaians are involved in illegal mining activities, directly and indirectly, in 12 regions across the country. So this is not a problem that you can wish away. And so we need to tackle it and tackle it well.
A second, Honorable Leader, you had just... Yes, speak.
Please.
Mr. Chair, bear with me.
Let the nominee land with the answer, and I can recognize you on a follow-up.
Yes.
Please,
he just made a statement that 3 million
What will happen is that, hold your question down. Let the nominee finish with the answer, then I can give you the floor to do a follow-up.
Mr. Chair, let's have an interaction. He's a fine man. Let's have an interaction.
Please, go ahead and complete your answer to the question.
And so once that happens, the focus is to make sure that mining activities are going to be done legally in all approved areas. How do we allow that to happen? We have talked about decentralizing operations of the regulatory institutions. Because one of the reasons why so many people are engaged in illegal mining is that the processes for getting a license sometimes is so cumbersome and so long. Of course, unless you have political connection, as you could see. But to decentralize these services, to allow these communities who will now know that if you want to do legal mining, this is the channel. You can even do it at the comfort of your computer and register. I'm very happy that the Minerals Commission is making progress with digitalizing some of these services. Now, having done that, we also need to go further. The NDC has said in its manifesto that we are going to recategorize mining. As we speak, it's small scale and large scale. And guess what? We can have one person with 30 licenses doing mining, small scale, which requires you to do it in a 25-acre land. And then you do one small scale here. Contiguously, if you put it together, you are doing large scale. But we don't have the classification for a medium scale mine. So that makes supervision very difficult. And that is why we are saying that we're going to recategorize mining, create cooperatives, and then create what we call the gold board, which will really be the support system for this cooperative mining, providing support, providing assistance, working with the universities to bring geologists and experts to be in the same location. The reason we don't have problems with large-scale miners is that they are organized, and so you can manage them. The intention is to create a system that allows everybody to feel that it is easy to do legal mining, and that's what we'll pursue.
Thank you. A follow-up.
Yeah. Leader, just a few follow-ups. You had said that 3 million people are involved in illegal mining. I find that quite...
Direct and indirect, and I got that information from the Minerals Commission.
Okay, that's fine. You also said that you are going to ensure recategorization. Recategorization.
That's the plan.
Yes. Now, I want to hear from you solutions. I've heard you lament a lot. You talk about the pollution, stability of water, and all that.
Oh, keep quiet. Are you in the church?
So,
Order.
Leader, I want you to elucidate on the effect. And the catchword is positive. What will be the positive effect on this, your concept of recategorization?
As I said earlier, the recategorization will allow for easy monitoring and supervision. It will also help build capacity and allow small-scale miners to move. You know, as Ghanaians, what are we looking for? We are looking for the day where we don't even need foreigners to come and do large-scale mining. This process is also going to help build the capacity of small-scale miners moving to medium-scale and then to large-scale. We must indigenize mining by building the capacity of our own people.
But Leader, are you saying that the recategorization will ensure good monitoring? I don't get the logic. Can you explain? How would that ensure good monitoring?
I think, as I said, what it does is that it reduces the number of licenses. I said that as we speak, the small-scale mining licenses. I know that so many people who are doing small-scale have about 20, 30 licenses. And they are mining. You know, the requirement is that if you're small-scale, you have 25 acres of land. I'm saying that they have the capacity. They have big machines. But they are still classified as small-scale mining because there's no category of medium scale. And they are all over the place. And so we can't supervise them. The other thing is that I talked earlier about making sure that we support the geological survey to intensify geological investigation to identify mineralized locations. Once we know where the gold is, you know, the people won't be digging in water and everywhere. They will all be where the gold is. And that is the plan. And once we do that, there's a lot of advantages of scale that we will get.
Just this. You see, Leader, with respect, let's not reinvent the wheel. This statement of strengthening the geological department, Chairman, just a minute. Strengthening the geological department for you to give a confirmation of where the gold is. that has been done already, with respect to you. That has been done by our country. So what we want to hear from you with respect, you are rehashing what has been done already. Leader, with all respect to you, I'm not asking this question to question your competence, but I'm telling you that that has been done. What is the solution? Prefer solutions rather than telling us what has been done already.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, I take this vetting very seriously. So that when I got the opportunity to be nominated, I spent man-hours with the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. And as I speak, I have even the experts, or some of them with me. I have been told, for example, by the Geological Survey that if he talks about some of the projects, right, as you speak, Minerals Commission has given them one project, which costs about 10 million, and another one, they are doing 2. They are saying that if they can finish 12, then we can make a lot of, so there's a lot of work to be done. And so I'm not speaking out of just the blue. I'm speaking because I had this fast from the experts.
Thank you very much. Any further question?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'll just do a follow-up on the question regarding the recategorization. Honorable nominee, is it the case that the idea of the recategorization is to make room for how our small-scale miners, quote and unquote, have now gotten increased capacity? Because the understanding of small-scale mining, as it was then termed galamsey, was head pan and shovels. Now you have people with excavators, big earth-moving machinery, supposedly engaged in small-scale mining. Is it the case that this recategorization will capture such miners appropriately and regulate them just as the big mining firms are regulated, and even create space for those who want to engage in what is real small-scale mining, for more community mining to get involved? Is that the idea?
Chairman, I couldn't have said it better. Thank you, Chairman.
So is...
Any further question?
I don't have a second follow-up.
No, you don't have right for a second follow-up.
Okay.
Substantive question.
All right, so I'll move on to my substantive question then. The lease of state lands, it's a big issue in this country, and it was discussed earlier around this table. And especially when they are leased to political allies. In the not too distant past, we saw how the Akufo-Addo administration did this rampantly, indiscriminately. This question is allowed? Yes. There are many examples that have been discussed, and Mr. Chairman, when the former minister was here, he was flashing a document that he said came from his ministry with about 100 and something people who had lands. Nobody.
Please, candidate, proceed to ask your question.
Yes, that's all. But
address the chair and proceed to ask your question.
Mr. Nominee, we do know that some high-profile officials of the regime have been accused of acquiring these state lands. Now, what is your position on this, and what action do you plan to implement to protect these and many other state lands that are yet to be encumbered?
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, as I stated, His Excellency the President is very passionate about this issue. He has already directed the sale, lease, and processing of all transactions involving state and public lands. Pursuant to this directive, the Lands Commission has been directed to compile a comprehensive report. Chairman, if I get the opportunity, with your help, to become the minister, I intend to study that report and advise the President appropriately for the right actions to be taken.
Mr. Chairman, a follow-up on this one. Honorable nominee, things may appear similar, but not the same. When we talk of land acquisitions by state officials, you often hear conversations suggesting that it started in 1995, 1993. But we know that government had a rezoning policy, which rezoning allowed 4 parcels of land to be allocated through proper regulations and appropriate compensations paid by officers who acquired these lands. Can you tell us the difference that you notice in the implementation of this rezoning, where in the past, say under President Mills, under President Rawlings, some state officials may have led in allocating state lands, and what we witness in the just past administration? Things may appear similar but not the same, being the guiding principle as you answer.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, indeed, there are all sorts of, I think about 5 categories, different categories. I think the main one that always becomes an issue for discussion has always been lands that are acquired by the state, compulsory acquired by the state, paid for a particular purpose. But over the years, the particular purpose for which that land was acquired has changed. So the land is not used for that particular purpose. And then the circumstances change that there has to be a new use of that land. Now, it has been done under the Mills, and a lot of transparent processes were done. I think that is really what we are talking about. But I think the very important point that I made, and I'm going to make it, as a minister, and this is my personal view, as land minister, I see something fundamentally wrong for me as a minister to be arrogating to myself lands that I've been given the opportunity to supervise. That's my personal view. I believe the policy that we bring in that says that if there's really a need for such circumstances as I have described to allocate land, then those lands must be reevaluated and sold at the current market value so that the people of Ghana whose land we are holding in trust are not shortchanged, and that's what I intend to do.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nominee, for that assurance. That difference needs to be established, appropriate compensation especially. And like I said earlier, I have no doubt at all about your competence, and I join many other Ghanaians who share that same view. And so we are wishing you well, and we hope that you live up to the expectation. My last question is on land guards. Land guardism. The incidence of land litigation, double sale of land in Ghana has been recurring, especially in our cities. What will you do as a minister to address this situation, especially when people, you know, do this because of, engage land guards because of this double sale of lands? What are you going to do about the double sale of land, which leads to land guardism in some cases? Thank you once again, and congratulations. The very best of luck to you, Honorable Nominee.
Thank you very much. I think the Land Act 2020 at 1036 has already made strict provisions in addressing this issue. As Minister, what I will make sure we do is to make sure we strictly enforce this act.
Thank you very much. I will proceed to give the floor to Honorable Prechum.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for this opportunity. I would like to create your indulgence and defer the opportunity given me to the immediate past Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the first question.
Please. Honorable members, I understand Honorable Prechum is here as a subject matter committee. Let me remind all of us that Standing Order 217 is very clear. If Standing Order 217 allows leadership of the subject matter committee to join, the same rule will not allow you to come here in your capacity as a subject matter committee to say that I now want to give the position to another person to ask the question. So, Honorable Amprachum, if you do not have any question to ask, I will proceed to give the floor to another person.
He's not even on any subject matter committee. Which subject matter
Honorable members, order. Honorable Amprachum, the floor is yours. You have the floor. You have the floor.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, there is no need for any noise, please. Why should there be? Yes. Please.
The honorable member who introduced himself. Yes, sir.
Out of order. Please. 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 Amprachum, you have the floor, Honorable.
Thank you, Chairman.
He has misled you.
I submitted his name.
Not yet.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for giving me this opportunity to ask my question to my good friend, Honorable Kofi Buah. In all honesty, I see in him somebody who will do a good job if he's given the nod.
Thank you, Chairman.
But I hope that he will do justice to the questions that will be posed to him today. You can't direct me. Okay?
Honorable Amprachum, address the chair.
Chair, advise the members.
Honorable Amprachum, address me.
Yes.
Address me.
With true fire, I will throw fire. Yes.
Senior member talking. Senior member.
Withdraw. Police have got to behave. You don't come and heckle me, right? Yes. I've got chairman to defend. Don't. Just do not. Mr. Chair, Honorable, I want to find out from you, first and foremost, if you are going to allow chiefs to be part of the issuing authority of licenses, mining licenses.
Chairman, I think that the chiefs are already a very important, integral part of land administration in Ghana. I think that what I had said was to make sure, and I will tell you my experiences as a member of parliament from a mining district. The reason why I kept talking about this decentralization, I kept talking about making sure that the regulatory authorities are at the fingertips of people at the local communities, that the chiefs have access to them, is that we are trying to avoid what has happened in the past. When you are in your village one morning, a guy comes to you and waves his document that I'm here to do prospecting. I've been given a prospecting license by Minerals Commission. He meets this guy, they say this is the Abusu opinion. He go and see him, he buy him the drink and give him all the things he has to give him, pour the libation, and the guy go and start. Before we know it, there's a problem. There's a problem because the guy that he saw and gave him all that drinks is not Abusu opinion, in fact. When we decentralize, when we get the mining authorities, the EPA, the Minerals Commission, to be in direct link with the authorities at the local level, what it means is that the processes will be done in a way. You know, the requirement now is that before you give licenses, you have to go and give notice and do public hearing. Does that happen? No. So these are attempts at empowering the people at the local level to make sure they have access to the authorities that are giving these licenses, to be able to give proper feedback so that all the challenge you've seen, I have witnessed prospecting licenses being given to a mining company going to somebody's cocoa farm and tearing it down. And then there's problem. These things will help. But more importantly, we are also doing that to empower the people at the community level, saying to them, you are very important in this process. We are not going to do anything without you. In any event, you have access to us. So you want to do mining, please don't do it illegally. You have access to us. We'll give you the right channel and train you and give you the capacity to do it. And that's why we are doing that.
Thank you very much. Are you done? Are you done? Any further question? Yes.
Honorable nominee, my question was very specific. And it looks like you have just been dancing around it without actually hitting the nail on the head. I was specific.
Honorable Amprachum, you may not like the answer, but apparently that's the answer.
I want a specific answer, and it's regarding the role of the chiefs. Simple as that. You can give me all the answers, but I will go back that I will want specifics. Would you permit chiefs to be part of the issuing of mining licenses?
Chairman, you know, when you are drafting a policy, you envision it and you think about the problems that has happened in the past. I've just described why we are moving in that direction. I believe that it is obvious to me that if we are setting up a local board or authority at the district level, key stakeholders will be part, and obviously chiefs are key stakeholders, so that the thing will be done. But we've not gotten to that point yet. I believe that, Honorable Member Chairman, if you give me the chance to go to the ministry, we will fine-tune those policies, and I'm sure that I'll come here and I'll be able to give you concise answers.
Any further questions?
Thank you. I know we will be around to give you all the help you need.
Good friend, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Nominee, my question has something to do with the involvement of the military in the fighting of Galamsey. On page 78, which one? This one. What is wrong? What is wrong with it?
Address the chair and proceed to ask your question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
No.
Will your government, again, another specific one, I like specifics without going round in circles. Will your government continue with the military involvement in the fighting of Galamsey?
Thank you, Chairman. I've already described the enormity of the challenges we face. We are already aware of what has been happening with the effort by the security service, especially when it comes to our polluted waters. Today, as we speak, the state of our rivers is nothing to write home about, and the police and the military has played a very critical role. If I get a chance as a minister, we are going to evaluate the new program. For example, I have very new, exciting ideas about what to do with the protection of our water bodies. Because one of the problems that I got to know was that it's not cheap to get the military to continue permanently in these locations. So they will be in a place. It used to be that they will come in the place and clear everybody, and for 6 months nobody will be there. Now they come, clear, and they go away, and within 1 month they are back. So we have to think about new ideas. Some of the ideas as to, we have forest guards. What about forests? What about water guards? So these ideas are going to be thought through, and we are going to come out with creative ideas to make sure that these matters, that goes to the survivor. And these are very important. For example, I was thinking about the creation of water guards who are going to be trained to understand that this is not some security job they are going to do, that they are going to fight for the soul of our country. That's our water bodies. So these are very important, but we are going to do that and really make sure that we address these comprehensively.
Thank you very much. Is there a follow-up question? Do you have a follow-up?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
On the last question regarding the use of the military to fight Galamsey?
Yes.
Very well.
Mr. Chairman, Honorable Nominee, it seems I'm getting a bit impressed with your mention of the water guards.
Water guards, yeah.
So the issue of Galamsey, the issue of environmental deprivation, the issue of the water problems, that is something that is very dear to my heart. And you mentioning the probable introduction of water gas is something that warms me. I hope you will be able to develop the concept and be able to implement it.
With your support, I'm sure we can.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I will then proceed to give the floor to Honorable Toffee. Please, let me repeat them for you. The first question is on mining license. The second question is on the consent of the chiefs in doing so. The third question is the use of the military in the fight against Galamsey, which I have given you the opportunity to ask a follow-up question, if any. And you have asked the follow-up, and the follow-up has been answered. Apparently, former minister responsible for lands and natural resources, you are not the chair.
Chairman,
so
I'm helping.
I give the floor to Honorable
Chairman,
Toffee.
just a minute before you do that. With respect, as an available ranking, I have a duty to help you navigate. In fact, what you are referring to as his second question was a follow-up to the first question. So in actual sense, he still has one question to ask, a substantive question. Please, no, second one, and then a follow-up. It was a follow-up. Yes, that's it. He can speak for himself. He can speak for himself. Chairman, let's ask the last one and then that's it. He hasn't ruled.
I have given the floor to Honorable Toffee. You have the floor.
Chairman, with respect, we will not challenge your authority here. We will accept that with the understanding that Honorable Amprichum has one substantive question to exhaust. Because his follow-up, the second question was actually a follow-up to the first question. So he still has one substantive question to ask. And we want to respect your directive. So let him exhaust it, and then we can go ahead. We have nothing against Honorable Fote. I'm not challenging. I'm just suggesting to him. He has the definite ruling.
Honorable Dorcas Toffee, you have the floor.
So we'll come back and you do your last.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I want to congratulate Honorable Nominee. To me, I know he would deliver to make our country proud, and some of us also proud. So I want to congratulate him in advance.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Oftentimes, you access to understand. We always understand you. Let him do just one.
I will give the floor to Honorable Kwesi Konedu.
Chairman, thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, I'm starting. This will be my first question, so I would want you to take notice of it. Honorable Leader, congrats.
Honorable, just a minute. Chairman, let me make a suggestion to you. In order for us to get clarity on the type of question, it's important we allow our colleagues to indicate. This is my first question, substantive. Second one, this is my follow-up question, so that we get clarity on it, because we are not being fair to Honorable Amprichum. So proceeding forward and taking lessons from that, Honorable Kwesi Konedu, indicate to the chair and the committee questions that are substantive and those that are follow-ups.
Chairman, thank you very much. Chairman, I think I have made an observation, and that is that, for instance, today, we don't have the Honorable Member Apiaje here. We don't have the Honorable Ranking Member, the Honorable Apenyomakin here. Now, I see that the minority would come and say that they want somebody to replace. They will come before the committee. Please, we were in a meeting this morning. I didn't see you. Chairman, I think that practice must be stopped. When a member is absent, he cannot be replaced. Please, let me make, because replace, please. Can I finish? Chairman, with all due respect. Chairman, with all due respect.
Which standing order? This committee is a committee of rules and procedures.
Chairman, may I?
And Parliament of rules and procedures. Which rule?
Abu, please.
No, it's not about that. Which rule?
Don't interrupt me. You don't have.
No, which rule?
Please, let me.
You want to make your own rules?
No, Chairman, I'm not that. Chairman, let me refer the committee to Standing Order 217, Rule 1. The Appointments Committee comprises the First Deputy Speaker as chairperson, Minority Leader as ranking member, the Deputy Majority Leader as vice chairperson, the Deputy Minority Leader as deputy ranking member, and the following other members: A. Majority Chief Whip, B. Minority Chief Whip, C. 5 other members selected based on the numerical strength of the parties in Parliament. Mr. Chairman, with all due respect, no caucus can whimsically appear before the committee and suggest that a member, bona fide member, is absent, and therefore a certain honorable member be used to replace that person. The only practice which we have adopted is that because the subject matter committees are in the process of being constituted, leadership of the caucuses are mandated to submit names of leadership of those subject matter committees to chair of the committee for purposes of posing questions. But this practice where a member is absent, no excuse is given, then another is brought to come and replace him, is not borne out by our standing orders. The replacement cannot be whimsically done. It appears to be abused. So, Chairman, with all due respect, when a member on the other side is absent, please proceed, if you have quorum, to deal with the issues. Please.
Chairman.
Thank you very much. Chairman. Honorable members.
Chairman.
This is a house that we always say we are masters of our own rules. We are guided by the practice and convention. I believe strongly, we all know, that when our leaders are not available, we normally have available leaders to work in place of that particular leader. So that is what exactly is happening today. So with all due respect, can we make progress? Let us not use this to truncate. Honorable Honorable Akwesi Kwanedu, you have the floor. Please, you have the floor. You have the floor.
Chairman, thank you.
Order. Order. Honorable, you have the floor.
So what's your ruling?
Chairman, respectfully.
Honorable former minister, you cannot be asking the honorable member having the floor to hold on. Please, Honorable Kwanedu.
Chairman, respectfully. Chairman.
Proceed with your question.
Chairman, respectfully. Can I make the appeal?
Mic was not working, so I was not asked to hold on. That is what I want to make
the appeal?
Chairman, thank you very much. Chairman, this is my first question. And I would like to lay the basis for the question so that my honorable former leader would appreciate the question. Mr. Chairman, on page 78.9 of the NDC manifesto, you say that you provide a predictable regulatory regime and build confidence for local and foreign investors. Our Minerals and Mining Act of 2006, Act 703, has been hailed as one of the best laws globally in terms of certainty and predictability for investors. And one of those certainties is that when you conduct exploration and you abide by all the mining laws, you are entitled to the grant of a mining license. That is section 39(2) of Act 703. Now that we are familiar with this issue of a company that exploited for lithium for over 10 years and eventually made commercial finds and was granted a mining lease in accordance with our law, the SWAL MPP administration went on further in negotiating for an enhanced terms outside the law. And I would want to state some of this. An increment in royalties from 5% to 10% to the benefit of Ghana. An increment in government's free carried interest from 10% to 13% for the benefit of Ghana. And an additional interest to be taken by the Minerals Income Investment Fund. And mandatory provision for the company to list on the Ghana Stock Exchange, which it complied with. Altogether provided for a minimum of 30% Ghana participation in the exploration of lithium, making this provision as one of the greatest values.
Please, your
in terms of our mining license negotiations and grants. And now my question: despite all this, you opposed it. How are you going to ensure that investors that have invested in the exploration of mining and minerals in this country, their concessions will not be taken away from them, but they will be granted necessary leases and permits to mine in accordance with our law?
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, I think the premise of the question, I am aware that this came to Parliament and it was referred to the committee. I don't recall that the committee came back with a report that was opposed.
Any further question?
A follow-up.
Yes.
A follow-up.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Yes, it was referred to the committee. Same as this committee is working for the totality of Parliament and present a report. So if it was halted at the committee level, it's still a halt to the investor confidence that they would have. Regardless of the fact that referral was made to the committee, how are we as a house and a government going to help that investor confidence, whether at committee level, governmental level, will be assured, such that when they put their money in exploration and abide by all the rules, laws governing mining in Ghana, their leases will be granted for them?
Chairman, I was the former energy minister, and I was a very aggressive in making sure that when investors express interest in exploring oil, and we negotiate, follow through, and make sure those are approved. And that's the record I have. You were in charge of government business. I think your responsibility was to have brought the agreement back from the committee. And so to say that what happened there, but I'm simply telling you that there was no report that was debated and defeated on the floor of Parliament. But this is what I would say. When it comes to new minerals, Chairman, my strong view is that Ghana must really win in new negotiation for our new minerals, and that there must be a paradigm shift in some of these agreements to ensure that, yes, we've held some of these old minerals for a long time, but the new minerals, we must focus on value additions in our country and make sure that we can really get Ghana can win bigger than we have before. That's my view on it.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move on to my second question.
That is so.
Mr. Chairman, sustainable forest management activities, and in current terms, the global trend towards carbon trading makes it very, very important for this country. And looking at how sustainable forest management is plagued with inadequate governmental support due to budgetary constraints, what will be your approach at finding sustainable financing for natural resource management in terms of both the forest and wildlife management, bearing in mind the passage of Act 1113, that is the Wildlife Management Resource Act?
Chairman, I think that's a very, very important question. There's a lot of money on green efforts, climate change mitigation efforts. And I think that as a country, we must be seen aggressively doing things to protect our forest reserves and adding new forests. And that is why I have described some of the big initiatives that I have described. Tree for Life initiative, the Restore Ghana initiatives that is intended to restore our forests and bring biodiversity and ecological life. These efforts will let us attract more funding and make sure that Ghana will have an advantage. And we intend to make sure that we heal our forests and undertake aggressive efforts in reforestation so that we can attract this funding, this climate mitigation funding that you have described. And as Minister, if I'm given a chance, that's the focus of my administration.
Thank you. The floor is yours, Honorable Konedu.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, my last question will be on one of the last acts that we passed.
Please, that's your last question. I recognize the Chief Whip on a follow-up on the second question that you have asked.
Leader, just a quick one. The carbon trade concept and the Red Plus concept, I am told last year it enabled the raking in of a lot of dollars into our country because of our ability to position ourselves as a country to buy into that concept. And you rightly spoke to deforestation and its attendant effect. What is your appreciation or understanding of the Red Plus concept and the carbon trade concept, and how will you be able to appropriate this efficiently when you are made the Minister of Lands and Forestry?
Thank you, Chairman. I think these climate mitigating measures has a lot of advantages. I've already described it, and you have described one. As Minister, we will take all the steps, getting the advice of experts to make sure we position our country to take advantages of all of these funding sources.
Thank you. Then we'll proceed to take your last question.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, my last question will be on the passage of one of the last acts that we did. That is Act 1123. That is the Boundary Commissions Act. The Boundary Commission plays an important role in the maintenance of the territorial integrity of Ghana. It doesn't have a dedicated funding source that would equate to the role that it plays. Being familiar with the Act, what measures would you help put in place so that they will have at least a dedicated source of funding to complement their activities aside the mega budgetary allocations that they get and donor funding?
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, the importance of the Boundary Commission cannot be overemphasized. As former energy minister, I witnessed firsthand how critical it is for us to protect the territorial integrity of our country, our three borders, with Togo, with Cote d'Ivoire, with Burkina Faso, and Nigeria. And I think it is imperative that we take the steps to ensure that this is done. If I get a chance to be nominated, I'll work very, very hard with the Ministry of Finance conferring to make sure that we fully fund the Boundary Commission. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will proceed to give the floor to Honorable Hajia Ladi Ayamba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Let me first of all congratulate my able, hard-working, and don't listen to my language. I'm going to say my beautiful leader. Congratulations. May Allah guide and protect you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my first question is, in January 2018, His Excellency President Akufo-Addo reportedly revealed that $5 billion was unaccounted for in gold exports from Ghana to the United Arab Emirates. A similar report indicates that Switzerland imported $7 billion worth of gold from Ghana, but records show that Ghana exported just over $3 billion to that country. Honorable nominee, can you explain the cause of the disparity between the volumes of gold that is reported in, say, Dubai, and the volumes of gold that are reported by the Precious Minerals Marketing Company, PMMC, and what would your approach be to address this? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, this is a very serious concern. A country that is struggling to get money to bolster ECD in foreign exchange will hear stories that we are being shortchanged. I think that it is a matter that we must take seriously. Chairman, if I get a nod as the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, this is a matter I'll take up seriously, working with the Ministry of Finance, working with the security agencies to basically follow the custody issues from the mines all the way to the last point and in between, and make sure we revisit the strict accountability process and the sanction regime to ensure that this does not happen to our country.
Any further question?
Yes, please, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Nominee, for the precise answer. Mr. Chairman, my second question is, how do you intend to address the recurring clashes between indigenous communities and large-scale mining companies, as was recently witnessed in Obuasi, and were the victims mining when they were killed? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, this is a very important question that is so dear to me. Chairman, I come from the Western region, and I have been a member of Parliament before the regions of the Western North and Western region was divided, so I'm very much aware of some of these challenges. But Chairman, I think that there's something that I hope and I pray I'll be remembered for. I want to be remembered for as the minister that finally got large-scale mining companies to finally bridge the gap between these companies and the communities in which they operate. Chairman, this is very critical because this has gone on for very long. What are the root causes of this problem? And I'm going to be very brief. Chairman, if a company is given a huge tract of land to mine, and they mine the area for 10 years, and they move to another site, and they have no plans to visit this location for a period of time, the community in that area, their lands, 50% of their lands is what has been taken. It used to be before that mining, that's where the farming, that's where food crops were produced. And then they get to a point where they say, we can't, we have to survive. Give us an area for us to also engage in mining activities. And then that's where the problem starts. Chairman, I think that it calls for an engagement and an understanding. It all starts with how this whole mining process starts. The belief that somehow when you get your licenses in Accra and you go to the communities, that is it, and all the powerhouses in Accra must change. Mining companies must work with communities for them to believe that they have the social licenses at those grassroots level, and they give them the respect and they will engage them. That way, you will see that there will be a win-win. For example, how beautiful will it be for a mining company to allow this cooperative mining that I'm talking about, to allow a community that we ourselves are going to take the lead in building your capacity, because we live here with you. We're going to help you build your capacity, and in the process, Chairman, you know, the community will start believing that there's real benefit for this mining community being here. Oftentimes, it is not the case. And I give you the example of a 2-kilometer road where a mining company, yes, they pay taxes, so that responsibility is with the central government. But guess what? This is not about the central government. It's about you and that community and how you can build trust and relationship. I think all of the things you've described comes out of that. I believe if we can reset this fundamental relationship and build trust between mining communities and companies, all of these challenges will not happen. And as minister, I intend to drive this new paradigm shift.
Thank you very much. Very well. You have the floor for your last question.
Thank you, Chairman. The recent discovery of green minerals such as lithium in commercial quantities in Ghana has raised questions about what Ghana stands to benefit from this resource, given our experience from several years of mining gold and other minerals. Mr. Nominee, if given the nod as a minister, what would you do differently to ensure that these new discoveries inure to the benefit of our country? Or are you yet going to wait to make sure that people who might run there illegally, in quotes, their excavators and other mining equipment would be seized and burned, as we saw previously? Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. I think it's a very, very important question. Chairman, we must focus on these new minerals. But we must have a new mindset when it comes to new minerals. When our great hero, Osajifo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, said long time ago that as a country we must ensure that we start building the commanding heights and make sure Ghanaians are the ones holding the commanding heights of our economy. He meant that in critical sectors of our economy, we must build Ghanaian capacity to make sure that we can get Ghanaians to lead in our industrial capacity. Somebody asked the question, why is Johannesburg so prosperous? And why is Obuasi so impoverished? The answer is simple. Chairman, the reason is because the people who are mining in Johannesburg are all in Johannesburg and investing the money back. The people who are in Obuasi, yes, we want the investors to come, but oftentimes those reinvestments do not happen there. I think that in going forward, that is what should be our mindset. Trying to make sure that these new minerals, and somebody said it in a very blunt way, if we are not going to get companies to come and add value, let it remain on the ground. That should be our mindset.
Thank you very much. I will proceed to give the floor to Honorable Alassane Umar.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Nominee, congratulations.
Thank you.
From the responses, eloquent, and the precision of answers that you provide, I'm confident and believe that there is a certain agenda of President Mahama will really come to pass. And my question is a follow-up on the licensing regime. And Chairman, if I may take your leave to cite or... Yes, Chairman, I have a news item from Joy News. And it says that this was reported on the 24th January 2025. More than 100 mining-related licenses issued in the final week of Akufo-Addo's government. And the reporter is Anthony Menu. Now, if I look at that month, January, you have first, January 2025, 67 licenses were issued. January 2nd, 11 licenses were issued. January 3rd, 19 licenses were issued. January 6th,
please,
5
you have mentioned the total number of licenses. Proceed to ask your question.
Thank you, Chairman. In all, you had over 102 licenses issued in just 1 week or 3 weeks, last week of Akufo-Addo's government. I want to ask you, Mr. Nominee, Mr. Nominee, I want to ask you, also, it has been further reported that just about 50 small-scale mining licenses were issued between 2009 to 2016, as opposed to over 2,000 licenses from 2017 to today. What is your position on the current licensing regime in the small-scale mining sector? Do you think the current status quo has contributed to the increased rate of environmental destruction in the country? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, when I get the opportunity to be approved as the minister, my intention is to undertake a holistic review of the licensing regime. I've already talked about how there's so much duplication in the issue of licenses. I've talked about one individual who will be holding almost 50 licenses because he has not been classified as a large scale, and he wants to continue to do mining. So he's doing mining in contiguous area, and if you put it all together, he is probably close to large scale mining. We need to look at this recategorization. We need to do a holistic review of this licensing regime to address the issue you've brought about. I think that part of the problems we've had, as you have described, in terms of what we see in the pollution of our water bodies and destruction of our environment, has to do with some of the illegalities, not only perpetrated by the illegal miners, but even people with small-scale mining licenses. That is where we must focus on, and to make sure we organize them well, to make sure we can have supervision and monitoring, to make sure we can use modern technology to focus this industry so that we will not have the challenges we've had. Thank you.
The Chairman, just a second.
Thank you.
Before you come in, please,
hold it. You have a supplementary on the main question. If you have a supplementary, go ahead and ask, and I will thereafter give you the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Nominee, will you consider revoking licenses that were acquired without the process or procedure?
Thank you, Chairman.
Please.
I've said that there will be a holistic review of all of these processes. Chairman, we are guided by the law. And what I would do as minister is to make sure that the right things were done according to the law. And so we will make sure that that is done.
Thank you very much. This is a matter of law.
Chairman,
please, you have the floor.
Just a quick follow-up. The honorable member who just spoke, honorable nominee, if you listen to me attentively, he alleged that over 100 plus licenses were issued by the Akufo-Addo administration just before they exited. And I was expecting you to either confirm or deny. You are now going to the ministry, and you gladly went ahead to answer the question. Would you confirm the data he put out? It's a newspaper. He quoted from a newspaper. Would you confirm that? Did you check? Is that the truth?
Chairman.
Honorable Chairman. Minority, please come. Honorable Minority Whip. The questioner was making reference to a newspaper publication. I do not know whether it is the newspaper publication that you want the nominee to confirm, or what exactly you want the nominee to confirm.
Speaker, just to reframe my question. I know the mining leases, the Supreme Court ruling, mining leases come to Parliament for Parliament to either approve or otherwise. I don't remember any mining lease of such volume, such mining license of such volume coming to Parliament. So what were you speaking to? You were allowing yourself for him to mislead you? Is it the case that you were allowing yourself for the honorable member to mislead you? Is that the case? No, let him answer. No, let him answer. I'm out of order. And you have the power to, you have the power to rule me.
Okay, I recognize Roxanne Dapamako.
Let him answer. Let him answer. Chairman, thank you. Chairman, thank you very much. Chairman, let me plead with my counterpart, the minority chief whip, who is the acting ranking, to take it easy. I know that he's had a lot of follow-ups. Please, Uma, please. Honorable Uma, please. We want to have this done expeditiously but effectively. So if the Honorable Chief Whip has a follow-up, it shouldn't be argumentative and badgering the witness. He could ask a follow-up, and the nominee will provide answers that they require. Some data was referenced, and the honorable nominee spoke to the data. If the honorable Chief Whip has a contrary view on the matter, he could post it as a follow-up. So this can be done in a more quieter manner. I plead with you.
Chairman, yes, indeed.
Well, you want to reframe?
Yes. Okay. So, indeed, we want to do our work, but this is a House of Records, and you know, you have often made that statement, House of Records. The honorable member referenced some data, and I'm saying, for the number of months we were in Parliament before the 8th Parliament was dissolved, I do not remember such volume of mining licenses coming to Parliament for approval. Would you confirm this or not?
But, Honorable Ranking Member, the nominee never said so. It was a question that was posed to the nominee. Yes. I do not know whether your question is to the question being posed to the nominee. I think a follow-up must emanate from the answers given by the nominee, with all due respect.
Chairman, with all respect, it is also important. We also have inherent responsibility to guide you where we are being misled. In effect, I'm saying the question was wrong because of the data he referenced. And he was misleading the nominee. He was misleading the leader. And the leader, on the spur of the moment, didn't realize that there were inaccuracies in the questioner's statement. And therefore, I'm saying that the questioner should be made to retract. He should retract those words. Because we don't have any of such data. Parliament has not approved any of such license here. And therefore, he was wrong. That's what I want you to admit. You are seeking to go to that ministry, and don't allow him to mislead you.
Mr. Chairman, I think
Honorable Member, Honorable Soini, you do not have the floor. Please, your microphone
Point of
off.
information, though. It will be helpful.
Let your microphone be
As
off.
former ranking member, I do know that
Let your microphone be off.
For small-scale mining licenses.
Let your microphone be off.
It has never come.
Honorable Umar, you are entitled to your last question.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Nominee, thank you so much for educating Ghanaians on these licenses. Anyway, I have one more question, and this is in reference to how the country will earn revenue, how we can increase our exports.
Can we have some order listening to the question and the answer?
In terms of aluminium. So my question is, what has prevented Ghana from developing the integrated aluminium industry to achieve the optimum impact? Aluminium.
Chairman, this is a very important area that we must work hard to unearth. Successive governments have taken a lot of steps. What is really preventing this to happen is for us to get a strategic...
Honorable members, let there be order so that we can listen to the answers.
What has really prevented the takeoff is a strategic investor that will be prepared to really invest the huge billions of dollars that is required in this area. But it also requires us to really do a lot of preparatory works. As Minister, I am going to work with the agencies involved to make sure that we can position ourselves to attract such investments.
Thank you, and I wish you well.
Thank you very much. I will stand on Order 2177 to recognize the Deputy Whip. Honorable Habib.
Thank you, Chairman. And congratulations, my former colleague in leadership. my question, eighth Parliament, just the tail or the end of the eighth Parliament before dissolution and dissolution of the eighth Parliament. Are you aware, or your briefing from the ministry before appearing before this committee, are you aware, or have you been briefed, whether there was some mining licenses over 100 that was approved?
Chairman, I read the news report. I've also not seen any rebuttal from the Minerals Commission on this matter.
Chairman, I think my question is not answered by the nominee. I am saying that, Chairman, I clarify my question. Chairman, I clarify.
Honorable Habib.
Chairman.
Honorable Habib.
My question was very
Honorable
specific.
Habib. Yes. Honorable Habib. You see, I have always indicated that it is not the answer that you expect from the nominee that the nominee will give you. So whatever question you ask, you must take his answer. And the answer is that he has only read in the newspapers and there was no rebuttal from the Mineral Commission.
So Chairman, Chairman, I appreciate your guidance, but I made reference to I was saying that as a deputy minority leader and a nominee from for the position responsible for lands and natural resources, whether you have been briefed or when you were a deputy leader, minority leader, you have seen any approval. I'm not talking about newspapers. In respect of these two, have you been briefed?
No.
Okay, thank you. Chairman, he has answered that no, and I'm satisfied with his answer. Now my next question, and I want you to be to carefully listen to me, and know that you are under oath. Know that you are under oath. And previous nominees who have appeared before this committee have admitted that they own government land or have interest in public and government land. My question to you is, do you, Emmanuel Armah Kofi Buah, have any interest in state land, either Accra, Elembele, Pusiga, or anywhere?
No, please.
My last question, Bachama, is supposed to be a follow-up question. Your CV, residential address.
Look, a follow-up question on his interest in government land?
Yes.
Very well.
And your residential address in Ajingano. Are you aware that part of the Ajingano lands are state, and including where you are staying, is government and public land?
Chairman, you just told me. I didn't know that.
Chairman, my last question. Apart from the residential address that you have provided, do you have any other residential address aside this residential address? Remember, you are still under oath.
Yes, I'm under oath. I have a property in Botiano.
And are you aware that the Botema area where you have...
It's not Botema, it's Botiano.
Chairman, a follow-up question on that. Chairman, a follow-up question on that. Aside that, no other residential property in your name. Remember, you are still under oath.
I have a property in Elembele district, my house in Elembele.
Okay, Chairman, it's okay. He's my colleague in leadership. I wish you well.
Order. It's now the turn of Rita Odolesoa. Honorable.
Thank you, Chairman. I wish to congratulate you on your nomination by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama. Congratulations.
Thank you.
There have been serious agitations among the people of the Greater Accra region that fortunately, unfortunately, being the country's capital, the government has encumbered many of their lands for the public good. However, over the period, these projects elapsed, or the government did not have use of these lands again, but instead of the lands reverting to the allodial owners, it is alleged that government officials and public officials ended up appropriating these lands, selling them to people, sometimes even foreigners, without recourse to the allodial owners of these lands. And I'll cite a particular example, my constituency, Dadekotopon. The chiefs are not consulted when these lands are given out. My question, what are you going to do to ensure that the policies embarked upon by the late president at Mills continued under John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, are continued, and that those lands that were taken for the public good and the government has no use, and if the government has no use for them again, are reverted to the allodial owners per Article 26 of the 1992 Constitution? Thank you.
Chairman, I think this is a very important question. And as I stated earlier, there's already a directive for a comprehensive review and a report on all these lands. I believe that the right things must be done. And if indeed the right processes are done, as Minister, I will make sure that once this report, I'll provide the right advice to make sure that the people of Accra in all the areas get a right treatment that they deserve when it comes to the issues of land.
Thank you very much, but let me use the opportunity to explain to the whole world that all these issues have been dealt with in the case of Okujato versus Jacob Ejepilante. Thank you very much. You can proceed with your other question.
Thank you, Chairman. Honorable nominee, the people of Dadekotopon will really appreciate if these issues are taken seriously, because under the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government, some lands were released to the good people of Dadekotopon, but as we speak, those lands were never given back to the people. And so I would be grateful, the people of Dadekotopon will be grateful if these issues will be looked into, and whatever lands the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government said they have released to the good people of Dadekotopon be given to them. Thank you. Chairman, my other question, it's about the Peshi Lagoon in Dadekotopon. It has been encroached upon seriously as we speak. Before I was coming here, somebody called me that there were demolitions that were carried out along the banks of the Peshi Lagoon. People are going back there. I recall when I was Municipal Chief Executive, I worked with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, with the Environmental Protection Agency and other agencies. And there were even signboards that were erected along the Peshi Lagoon so that the lands around the banks, the river banks will not be encroached upon. But as we speak now, people have encroached upon those lands. And even entering into the sea, you realize that we have the polo courts that they have constructed there. And this, I believe, brings a lot of flooding when it rains to the areas around that place. What will you do to ensure that these encroachments are stopped? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chairman, the Land Act 1036 has really laid out what must be done in all these instances. As Minister, I will work with the Lands Commission and the experts there to make sure that the letter and spirit of those laws are enforced and that those who are breaking the laws are brought to book.
Thank you very much. Any further question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wish to congratulate you and wish you all the best. And I believe in your office as Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, you are going to work with the chiefs and people of Ghana to ensure that justice will be done for everybody. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Kofi Buah, you have the floor.
Thank you, Right Honorable Chair. Congrats, Honorable nominee.
Thank you.
I've known you for about 20 years, and I know your competency is not in doubt.
Thank you,
I,
Chair.
however, have some few questions for you. The NDC government, led by His Excellency John Kwame Dramani Mahama, almost reduced the 2024 election to a referendum on how the MPP manage the state lands, our water bodies and natural resources as a whole, giving it names such as state capture. As a sector minister, will you allow individuals, institutions, and private organizations to acquire state lands other than state and its agencies? Thank you.
Chairman, I have already stated that we must jealously protect state and public lands and make sure that if it is important at all in the interest of the state to sell any state land, we do so such a way that the people of Ghana will not be shortchanged. And as minister, I will make sure that happens. And that's what I will do.
So if I got your answer right, you allow individuals to acquire properties. Is that correct?
Chairman, I will be guided by the laws of this country. As I've said, as we speak today, there's a clear directive for the halt processing of any public or state land pending the review and the report. I'm sure when I get a chance as a minister, I'll review this and I'll be guided by that, making sure we understand that it is in the interest of the people of Ghana for us as people who have been privileged to serve them to jealously protect their lands.
Thank you. Follow up.
You don't have a right to ask a follow-up question on a follow-up unless you want me to take the follow-up question as a substantive question, by which you'll be entitled to do a follow-up.
Yes.
Other than that, should I take it to be your second question?
Yes.
Then you are entitled to a follow-up.
Right, Speaker. Yeah. Honorable nominee, in a letter dated 9th January 2025, the Executive Secretary to the President directed the Lands Commission to immediately cease all sales, leases, or processing of all state and public land transactions. Meanwhile, all these pending land transactions have been sanctioned and approved by the Lands Commission, and various Ghanaians have acquired legal interest to say. Honorable nominee, will you agree with me that this letter violates the legal rights and interests of Ghanaians? If you agree with me, don't you think this letter will result in unnecessary court action against the Lands Commission and also the government?
Chairman, I do not agree. I believe that the Constitution is very clear. It vests the power of state lands in the president, who is supposed to hold it in trust of the people of Ghana. What the president is doing is to make sure that that responsibility is being exercised. And I believe that it will not be done, as our former majority leader would say, capriciously with ill intentions. It will be done in the right way and make sure that the right things are done. And those who are found foul of the law will be prosecuted and the right penalties be applied.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Dominic.
Your last question, please. Please, your last question.
Honorable nominee,
when Galamsey file becomes so tough, the new patriotic government placed a ban on a small-scale mining, both legal and illegal, upon assumption of office.
Honorable member, do you mean the new patriotic party
The new
or
patriotic
new patriotic government?
The new patriotic party. I beg your pardon. We place a ban on both legal and illegal mining. Upon assumption of office, honorable nominee, will you support the placement of a ban, for example, say 2 years, to facilitate the restoration of our water bodies and natural resources? Will you support such a ban?
Chairman, as I've said, we know the challenges we face: degraded land, polluted water bodies, destruction of our forests. These are very grave issues. It requires a real approach. It doesn't require ad hoc measures, and I believe that we must take our time to find the solutions that will be long-lasting. When I'm giving the nod, I will do the right consultation with the experts and make sure that we take an approach that will help us to solve this problem permanently.
Thank you. I would give the floor to Honorable. You have a follow-up on the Galamsey band. Very well.
Not
Go ahead.
Not Galamsey band, but on Galamsey.
Very well.
Honorable Minister-designate, in your view, what are the fundamental reasons that drive Ghanaians, especially the youth, to involve themselves in illegal mining, which cause massive destruction to our environment, especially our water bodies?
Thank you very much, Honorable Nominee. This is not a follow-up question. I'll give the floor to Honorable Jerry Shaib.
Honorable Armah Kofi Buah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Very well. As Minister-designate for Lands, please, have you vetted your mind respectfully to the processes by which one has to go through to acquire or to be granted a government lease? Do you know the steps?
Chairman, I not necessarily the steps, but I can tell you my own personal story. I just gave you my address. My processes to get my land title at the Lands Commission is probably in the 3rd year. And that is enough to tell me that there's a lot of work to be done there, to make sure that we simplify those processes and allow Ghanaians to have utmost customer service on time when they want to access any of the services at the Lands Commission.
So my question was to the effect of state lands, but I'm sure perhaps you do not. So I'll depart and ask just a follow-up on the same one. So before you get a state land, you write an application to the effect. That is when you have seen a parcel. And when you do so, the Lands Commission now would conduct a search. And when the search is conducted, it will tell you whether or not the land belongs to the state or government. And when that is done, they now write to the municipal or metropolitan or district assembly in which the land is to ask for what they call the planning comments. When same is done, they revert to Lands Commission. Lands Commission now would go on to say that this land is available. They've given us a comment, it's either residential or commercial or misuse. And then they proceed to tell you that we will now go to do an assessment and an inspection. When same is done, and Mr. Chair, I'm doing this just for the purposes of, for minister to know that it takes a lot to go through to first of all acquire. And I do not think that these processes have been departed from. So when same is done, then they will tell you this land is available, we have assessed it, you would have to pay a certain amount of money before a lease is engrossed. And that, before the list is even engrossed, it comes to the Standing and Technical Committee of the Lands Commission. So whether in Greater Accra, Western, wherever, when they agree, before it now comes to the commission. Now the commission members debate on same before, first they debate on even the parcel of land, the size and all of that. They also debate on the assessment, the value, before they proceed to say that we will make an offer. Mr. Minister-designate, these are the processes. My question now is that, would you think that anybody who had to go through all these processes did not acquire a land legitimately?
Chairman, I think that I have been aware of the long history of the attempt by the Lands Commission to digitalize. There's something called Lab 1, Lab 2, and even there, we have not gotten to where we are. I believe that we need to move faster in trying to address these processes and make it easy. For example, I've been told that the digital-based map of Ghana, when it's in place, will cut all these processes and make it easy. And so I believe that the Lands Commission's bureaucratic processes, quite frankly, does not really help in allowing people to, apply for these services there. But I think I'm missing the last point. What are you trying to get at? You are trying to get, I missed the last, what you are trying to get at. So I believe that the Lands Commission's processes must be simplified. We must help them with the technology. They've told me about digital-based map of country. That is in place.
Honorable Minister. So just to help.
Honorable Jerry Shaib, the rule that we have set is that allow the nominee to complete his answer. Then you can proceed. Even you can hold it after the answer is done. Then you can also come in.
So I believe that if that is in place, for example, you can sit in the comfort of the office in Accra and assess the lands in, say, Axim or Takoradi and make the decisions without all these long processes that you have described. And I believe that we have to support the Land Commission to continue this digitalization process.